The Democratic Alliance in the Western Cape says social workers are now also being targeted by extortionists demanding protection money. This came out on Friday during a standing committee meeting. DA Western Cape spokesperson on social development, Wendy Kaizer-Philander, joins me now. Wendy, a very good afternoon to you. Thanks very much for your time. Perhaps take us through the modus operandi of these extortionists, if you will. Typically, what do they do?
Hi, good afternoon, Rio, and good afternoon to the viewers. Yes, this is quite something, and this is something that's on the rise in the Western Cape. And obviously, it is quite alarming given the very important and critical work that social workers do, especially within our vulnerable communities. So to perhaps just give a bit of a background as to where this emanates from, we had a standing committee meeting on the 6th of August, and we had the Western Cape Department of Social Development brief the committee on their various objectives. And emanating from that meeting, it came forth that social workers in the Western Cape are also now under attack. In terms of hijackings, assaults, and this past Friday's meeting, as you mentioned, also now are victims to extortion. And in the fact that where those areas that they need to conduct their very crucial work, they are now asked for money, and their lives are indeed threatened in this case.
Now, okay, correct me if I'm wrong, or help me to help our viewers. Now, I'm trying to imagine a picture of your typical social worker in a township or some such community who is walking around on foot or in a small little white sedan, going door to door, visiting people who need to be helped, or as they do, as they play whatever role they need to play in especially poor communities. We're talking about someone or a group of people then walking up to this person, grabbing their cell phones, asking them for money. Is that what we're talking about?
Indeed, that is what we are talking about, Rio. We have also seen, just to come back in terms of hijackings, we have learned through our standing committee engagements that these vehicles are stripped. So these vehicles are found across borders. And I will just perhaps later elaborate a bit on the various interventions by the government departments at this point in time. But yes, indeed, that is the case. Frontline workers in service of the community being threatened their lives now and making it very, very difficult for them to conduct their various or their very critical jobs, getting to those clients in the various communities and assisting them in that regard. That is exactly what we're talking about.
Now, before we talk about the interventions you're saying you have embarked upon. What are some of the worst cases that you've heard of or that have been reported?
Yes, unfortunately, Vio, one of our social workers was shot in the neck. One of our social workers, unfortunately, was also killed. At that point in time, one of the social workers was off duty at the time. But that is what social workers are going through at the moment. Social workers are also extremely traumatized by this. And by that, the Western Cape Department of Social Workers had to intervene in the sense that they offer trauma counseling to the social workers. They also now adopted a buddy system, meaning that social workers cannot go into a specific area alone. They buddy up with a colleague. And you can just imagine the impact that has got on the service delivery, because where one social worker were to address a case, another social worker now has to accompany her or his colleague. And obviously that can lead to a backlog as well.
But also, I mean, what has been, that impact that you're talking about on the people themselves who need the services of these social workers?
We will see definitely, as I said, case loads piling up. cases that are not attended to, because at this point in time, the social workers in the Western Cape are also reliant on being escorted. As we've previously heard, like ambulance personnel, they now also do daily check-ins. That is also an intervention by the department in the Western Cape, where they check in with the police on a daily basis to a certain areas before they go into that areas. So they are accompanied by either the police or by the city law enforcement officers. And we often ask, where are these officials when the public need them? Well, they might be accompanying a social worker.
Maybe, I mean, for those of us who take a lot for granted, talk to us about the kinds of people that these social workers have to help. You know, in other words, the impact of their work, without which poorer communities especially are poorer.
It is commonly known that social workers are absolutely vital to the health and the well-being of our communities. They are on the absolute front lines. They provide essential services such as child protection, mental health support, and assisting those communities and individuals that are in crisis. And without their tireless efforts, many individuals in need would not receive the necessary help for them to improve their lives. So the work they do is so crucial in building a resilient and compassionate society. One cannot imagine a community without a helping social worker. So that is why for us as the DA, this matter is extremely important and critical to take up. Just perhaps to mention as well, we have directed 3 letters to the National Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development, of which we have not received an acknowledgement, of which we've not received a response at this point in time. And what we've asked during that correspondence is that the attacks on social workers should be reclassified. It should be classified as an attack on the state, because that is frontline workers. They are workers of the state, and the kind of work that they do, we cannot imagine them not being able to perform their duties. But after Friday, we've also invited the minister or a representative of the National Department to attend our meeting without any avail. But we will now, we gave an opportunity for members of the committee to do their resolutions and recommendations up until today. But we will definitely send another very strong worded message or letter correspondence to the National Minister, because I think that will be a deterrent for those that are involved in these crimes to get harsher punishment, and for the law enforcement agencies to vigorously attend to the scourge currently in the Western Cape.
Well, Ground Up reports that the minister is, quote unquote, applying her mind and is amenable to the idea of a meeting. But here's what rather disturbed me, and I want to ask you if police are aware of this. Ground Up reports that the Provincial Commissioner, Lieutenant General Thembisile Patekile, said, and I quote, "It's the first time we hear that some government officials have been extorted. We must make sure we nip this thing in the bud," close quotes. Now, it suggests that these cases aren't being reported, or the police don't take them seriously. Which one is it?
Perhaps just to go back in terms of your comment quoted by the minister, one would expect, Vuyo, that when correspondence are directed to you, especially correspondence of this serious nature, that you would perform due diligence and respond back. Up until now, as the chairperson, I have not received any response from the minister's office, but I am happy that the minister is currently applying a mind, but we need commitment in that regard. With regards to the police, I think we were very happy to have the provincial commissioner himself being part of the meeting, and that says something. It says that he's taking this seriously. The provincial minister also made the commitment that at the priority committee meeting, this matter will be taken further up, and I believe that we can expect even more collaboration from the police services in the Western Cape going forward.